Okay. Hello, everyone. My name is Nevin Akaydın. I am a librarian at Santa Clara City Library. I am with Sandra today from Habitat Humanity East Bay, Silicon Valley. So we have been hosting these programs, financial education series. It's been about 3 months, and tonight's topic is ID theft and scams. Thank you for joining us. Sandra, thank you for your time.
Thank you, Nevin. Thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here and presenting tonight's presentation of Protect Yourself from ID Theft and Scams. As Nevin mentioned, my name is Alessandra. I'm a housing counselor at Habitat East Bay, Silicon Valley, and I'm your presenter today. And Nevin, are you? Can I go ahead, or would you like to?
Yes. Before doing that, I would like to mention that if you have any questions, please type it in Q&A box. So at the end of the presentation, we will be answering your questions. Yes. Thank you, Alessandra.
All right. All right. Sounds great. Okay. Well, thank you again for joining us. Just a bit about who we are and what we do. Our Habitat East Bay Silicon Valley is a nonprofit, and we serve people in Alameda, Contra Costa, and Santa Clara counties through 3 programs. First, we offer affordable homeownership opportunities. We build new homes and renovate existing homes, and we sell them at an affordable mortgage to qualified families with limited and moderate incomes. We also offer housing counseling services, and through our owner-occupied home repair services, our home preservation program provides grants and low-interest loans for low-income homeowners throughout our service area. Just a little bit more about our housing counseling program, because that's the program I work in. It is certified by the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development, also known as HUD. And our services include one-on-one counseling, financial education workshops, how to approve first-time home buyer classes, and online financial education. Now, one-on-one counseling offers free individualized guidance. Clients work with a dedicated HUD-certified housing counselor to learn strategies for managing personal finances, including how to create a sustainable household budget, how to start a savings plan, manage that. We also offer credit counseling that teaches how to understand the credit report and how to build or rebuild a positive credit history, and pre-purchase counseling to help understand how the home buying process works and how to financially prepare to purchase a home. And we also offer financial education webinars like the one tonight, and the HUD approved, the 8-hour HUD approved first-time home buyer class. And then our free financial education center is a free online library of interactive lessons that you can take at your own pace and at your own time, and cover a variety of financial education topics. And we'll talk more about the financial education center at the end of the presentation. Ask yourself, how many online accounts do you have right now? Consider not just your email, social media, bank accounts, credit cards and insurance, but your streaming services, utility companies, retail store loyalty cards, online shopping sites, that old blog you forgot about. Even if you've been diligent about closing accounts and deleting historical data, there really is no guarantee that the company or organization itself doesn't still have your personal information stored in their archives. Now, the good news is that you are your own best protection. There are things you can do to prevent ID theft from happening and to minimize the damage if it does happen. So today we're going to learn how ID theft happens and how to recognize warning signs, review what you can do if your information is compromised and if you're a victim of ID theft. We'll show you some examples of common scams that you need to watch out for, and we'll go over some strategies you can use to protect your information from being stolen. So identity theft and ID fraud both refer to a crime in which someone wrongfully obtains and uses another person's personal data and information, like their name, their social security number, financial accounts number, without their permission to commit fraud or other crimes. A scam is an attempt to defraud a person or group of people by gaining their confidence through fraudulent acts, typically to cheat them out of their money. Now, the impact of ID theft can be financial and legal. It can also impact your credit history and credit score, which can make it difficult to qualify for credit, loans, rent, services. Now, in a survey conducted by the ID Theft Center, victims of ID theft said that they experience a strong emotional and physical impact as a result of their victimization. The idea that someone used their personal information for criminal activities made them feel violated. It also added a lot of stress to their lives because of the time and money required to fix the consequences of ID theft. Personally identifiable information, or PII, is any information that is used to distinguish or identify you. It is data that is unique to you, and it includes personal information like your name, your mother's maiden name, your place of birth, your age, social security number, driver's license number, address, place of work. And then there's financial data, and that includes your bank and credit card accounts, your loans, income information, your income tax documents. There's medical data, and that includes information like your health record, health insurance coverage information, prescriptions. And then biometric data, and that includes physical characteristics like your fingerprints, retinal images, facial and voice recognition. Identity thieves can impersonate you just by knowing your name and address. They use many different methods and scams to gain access to your personal and financial information. Well, the first step in protecting yourself is knowing how your information can be stolen so that you can take the proper precautions. The most common way is by stealing your property, your wallet, purse, electronic devices, but that's not the only way. They go through your trash or steal mail from your mailbox to look for documents that have your personal information, like bank and credit card statements, tax information, pre-approved credit card offers, receipts, medical bills. Once they have your name and address, they can submit an address change with the post office by filing an online form. Now your bills go to them and they gain access to valuable information about you, which they then use for fraudulent activities. They use skimming. They attach an electronic device to an ATM or a card reader to steal the information stored on a credit or debit card magnetic strip. They use social media to access information you share, like your birthday, city where you live, schools you attend, trips you take, social media posts. With that information, they can guess your passwords, answers to security questions, even know when you're away on vacation and leave the house unattended. Data breaches expose people's personal information. Any institution that collects personal information is at risk of a data breach, but retail outlet stores also are vulnerable and have been targeted. Phishing is when scammers try to get you to give them your personal information by tricking you into answering or responding to their email or social media post. They pretend to be a legitimate institution you trust or work with, maybe your bank, a government agency like the IRS or Social Security Administration. Then there's phone scams. They are a form of phishing. They may call or text, even spoof numbers of legitimate institutions like the Social Security Administration. Now, these types of scams come in many forms, but they typically tend to make promises for money or threats that something bad will happen to you. And the goal is to get you to share your personal information. Scammers may also pose as a business representative, someone you would trust to give your personal information to, like a landlord or an employer. Now, once identity theft thieves and scammers get access to your personal information, they will use it in different ways. Financial identity is the most common type of ID theft. That's when your financial information is stolen and used for financial gain. Taxpayer ID theft is when thieves use your social security number to file a tax return in your name. Children are vulnerable. Criminals use a child's stolen personal information and social security number to open accounts, apply for social services, loans. You can check to see if your child has a credit report. And if they do, that may be a red flag indicating possible identity theft. If a credit report is found, then you would want to inform the credit bureau that it may be fraudulent. Your personal information can be used to fake identity when conducting criminal activities. They may even fake paperwork, like a copy of a driver's license, to back up the fake identity. They can use social security number to get a job in your name, apply for public benefits, unemployment benefits. If your medical health information is compromised, you could be a victim of medical ID theft. And synthetic ID theft is when a thief creates a completely new identity using a combination of fake information, like a fake name, and real data, like a stolen social security number. Now, what do they do with this? Well, they access financial accounts, change passwords, logins, or addresses so that you no longer have access. They can also use the information to open new accounts in your name, like credit cards, bank accounts, take out loans. They can apply for rent, services like utilities, cell phone. They can use your credit card to make purchases, upgrade services. And if you're unaware of this activity, the debt's go unpaid and they will go into collection, which can have credit and legal consequences. And you might get sued, which would have a negative impact on your credit score and credit history. It may also prevent you from qualifying if you apply for things like a credit card, a loan, or rent or utilities. If they file taxes in your name, they can claim a fraudulent tax refund or a tax credit. If they use your medical information, like your health insurance policy, not only would you be responsible for medical services you did not receive, if the bills go unpaid, your credit history will suffer. It could also affect your ability to get medical care and insurance benefits, as well as impact your medical history and lead to a doctor maybe using the wrong information when treating you. They can hack into your bank account and withdraw money from your checking. If your savings is linked to your checking account, they could potentially also drain your savings. If they're caught doing something illegal or are stopped by the police and give your information during an arrest, when they don't show up for a court date, an arrest warrant will be issued in your name. Or maybe you apply for a job and you do not pass the background check because of the fraudulent criminal history. If they apply for benefits in your name, like unemployment, it will impact your ability to qualify. They can create fake social media accounts pretending to be you and use your information to pass a job background check or rent an apartment. Now, you can, of course, fight all of this, but it's difficult and it can take years and a lot of money to fix the damage done by identity theft. So being alert to warning signs of ID theft is your best first line of defense. And here are some warning signs. You check your bank and credit card statements and you find unexplained charges, credit cards, or withdrawals. Even small discrepancies could be a red flag or sign that you're a victim of financial identity theft. You stop receiving bills, bank, and credit card statements. You receive a move validation letter from the post office, but you did not file the change. You get calls from debt collectors for debts that you don't recognize. You check your credit report and you see accounts that you never opened or names listed used to apply for credit or loans that you never used. Collections for debts that you know you don't owe. You receive medical bills for services that you did not use, or your medical claim is rejected because you've already reached your benefits limit, but you know you haven't, or you receive a denial of insurance for a condition you do not have. You apply for a loan, a credit card, rent, or utility services, and you are denied because of a poor credit history or debts that you owe that you are unaware of. Now, placing a fraud alert or credit freeze is one of the critical steps to take if your personal information is compromised, because it makes it difficult for a thief to open accounts in your name. Depending on the severity of your situation, you can decide which you would rather do. A credit freeze restricts access to your credit report. This means that no one, not even you, can open new accounts like credit cards and loans while the freeze is in place. That's because the creditor or lender can't pull your credit report to check your credit history. This is a very secure way to protect yourself. However, it will impact your ability to apply for credit or loans, even if you want to apply for rent or services. Now, you can lift the freeze temporarily or unfreeze permanently for free. To do a freeze, you must place one with each bureau separately. And federal law also lets parents and legal guardians request a credit freeze on children under 16. A fraud alert is another way you can protect access to your credit report, but it's less restrictive than a credit freeze. With a fraud alert, a creditor or lender must contact you at a number that you specify to make sure that you are the person trying to open the account. It's also free and it's good for 1 year. You place it with one of the credit bureaus and they are required to contact the other two. So for example, you place it with TransUnion and they're then required to contact Experian and Equifax on your behalf. An extended fraud alert is for people who are a victim of ID theft. It lasts 7 years and you must provide proof that you filed an ID theft report with the Federal Trade Commission, also known as the FTC. And we'll talk about how to file an ID theft report in a little bit. So if your wallet or purse was stolen or lost, depending on your situation, you may need to take all or some of these steps. Make sure you document your actions and keep a paper trail. The Fair Credit Billing Act and the Electronic Fund Transfer Act offer protection if your credit, ATM, or debit cards are stolen. However, act fast to limit your liability. Report the loss to your bank and creditors. If your driver's license is missing, contact the DMV to report it and request a new one. If your medical information was compromised, maybe you had your insurance card in your wallet, contact your health insurance company and report it. That way you will have it on record that your medical card was lost or stolen in case someone tries to use your information at a doctor or dentist office. You may also want to file a police report in case anyone tries to use your information in a traffic stop or any encounter with the police. Ask your bank to issue you a new debit card with a new number and PIN. Act quickly because thieves can do a lot of damage in a short amount of time, and your liability will depend on how quickly you report the loss. If you report it missing before someone uses it, you are not responsible for any unauthorized transactions. However, if you wait too long, you can lose all the money in your account. Now, depending on the severity of the situation, you may want to open new checking and savings accounts as well. Cancel cards and get new numbers. Review your transactions with the credit card issuer and ask them to remove fraudulent ones. If you have auto pay on accounts, remember to change your information with the new card number. Your liability for unauthorized use of your credit card tops at $50. However, if you report the loss before your credit card is used, you are not responsible for any charges you didn't authorize. If your credit card number is stolen, but not the card, you are not liable for unauthorized use. And now take steps to protect yourself from further damage. Place a fraud alert or a credit freeze on your credit report. Again, which one you choose to do depends on your situation and your comfort level. Change passwords and logins, and monitor your credit report to check for any unexplained activity. Continue doing this regularly because thieves can use your information in the future. And we'll review how you can check your credit report for free a little later in the presentation. Now, if you have evidence that your personal information is being used fraudulently, for example, to open new accounts, file taxes in your name, act quickly and document your actions. Gather information, review your bank and credit card statements, check to see if you find any unrecognized transactions. If you do, highlight them. Check your credit report from each of the credit bureaus and look to see if there's anything reported you don't recognize. Accounts listed that are not yours, names you never used, credit inquiries for accounts you did not apply for. And then protect yourself from further damage. Contact the fraud department at your bank and credit card companies. Close accounts or freeze them to prevent anyone other than you from adding new charges. Get new account numbers with new passwords, logins, and PIN numbers. Ask your financial institutions to remove fraudulent transactions. If you find fraudulent accounts or information reported on your credit report, dispute them with the credit bureaus. Place a fraud alert or credit freeze with each credit bureau. And then document that you were a victim of ID theft. This will make it easier to fix problems it may have caused or may cause in the future. So file an identity theft report with the Federal Trade Commission or FTC. You can use this report to stop fraudulent information that results from identity theft from appearing on your credit report. Ensure that these debts do not reappear on your credit reports. Prevent a company from continuing to collect debts that result from identity theft, and place an extended fraud alert on your credit report. Also file a police report. It's up to you whether you want to do this, but some companies require this as part of their dispute process. And it can also help if someone uses your name in a traffic stop or any encounter with the police. To protect yourself from further damage, monitor your credit reports, check them regularly, look for unexplained or unfamiliar activity, look for anything that may be tied to the ID theft, and continue monitoring regularly as your information again could be used again in the future. Make sure to document your actions. Keep notes of conversations, copies of reports, correspondence, anything that helps prove that you were a victim of ID theft. That way, if you ever need it in the future, for example, to dispute fraudulent accounts that show up on your credit report, you have everything you need to support your claim. And here's a video that explains how the ID theft report works.
In today's connected world, personal information sometimes falls into the wrong hands, and that can lead to identity theft. It might start with an unfamiliar charge on your credit card. A business might not accept your check, or a debt collector might call you about a bill that isn't yours. You're not alone. Identity theft can happen to anyone. Stay calm. Visit identitytheft.gov to report it and get a personal recovery plan. IdentityTheft.gov helps you create an identity theft report. This report proves to businesses that someone stole your identity and makes it easier to fix problems caused by identity theft. To create an identity theft report, you can file a complaint with the Federal Trade Commission. IdentityTheft.gov guides you through each step of the recovery process. You can generate the letters and forms you need, track your progress, and keep detailed records of people you've talked to. No matter what your identity theft situation is, IdentityTheft.gov can help, because recovering from identity theft is easier with a plan. In today's connected world,
Sorry, did not want to make you listen to that again. Now, here are some red flags that indicate you may have been a victim of tax-related ID theft. The IRS sends you a letter inquiring about a suspicious tax return that you did not file, that an online account has been created in your name, or that records show that you receive wages or other income from an employer you did not work for. Now, this is when a thief uses your personal information to apply for jobs. You can't e-file your tax return because of a duplicate social security number. You get a tax transcript in the mail that you did not request. You get an IRS notice that an online account is being created in your name. If you see any red flags, take immediate action. Respond immediately to any IRS notice and call the number provided in the letter. If your e-filed return is rejected because of a duplicate filing under your social security number, or if the IRS instructs you to do so, complete an identity theft affidavit. File an ID theft report with the FTC. Also check with your state tax agency to see if there are any additional steps you need to take at the state level. Place a fraud alert or credit freeze with each credit bureau, and monitor your credit report. Now, if you think someone used your social security number to file for a tax refund, but you haven't gotten a letter from the IRS, then report it to the IRS and the Federal Trade Commission and get a recovery plan. And I apologize, it's somehow, when I play a video, it takes me out of presenter mode, and sorry about that. Now, scams, red flags. Scammers follow the headlines to find new ways to steal your money and get your information. And as the headlines change, so do the scams. Now, savvy people fall for scams all the time. If the thief can find a way to get you to a place where you let your guard down, you're more likely to fall for their pitch. There are some common red flags that indicate you're most likely dealing with a scam. Watch out for promises of money or a guaranteed return with no risk, claims that you can make lots of money and fast. The details are vague and confusing. Maybe they tell you that you want money, but you must pay them before you can collect, or you're invited to a free lunch seminar that's marked as educational when in fact it's a staged sales event. Scammers also use pressure tactics. They'll say that you must act now before the opportunity disappears, or scare you into acting immediately. Maybe they use intimidation by threatening. The message may say something like something bad will happen to you if you don't do what they say, like your bank account will be frozen or your social security payment suspended unless you update your personal information, or you owe money to the IRS and an arrest warrant has been issued in your name. They want you to act quickly before you have the chance to do your research or take time to think. Be very suspicious of any request to share personal information by email or phone, even by mail. I have to tell you, I thought I was always watching for emails. And just this week, I received a letter from my bank asking me to update my personal information. And it looked very legitimate. And this is the first time I get, I get a letter scam attempt. So I called the bank, and the bank actually said, "There's absolutely no, this is not from us." And they asked me to scan the letter and send it to them because they're trying to fight this. They're saying they're getting smarter. They know people are watching out for email, so now they're turning to mail. So watch for those as well. Now, if you receive government, so anything you receive, be very suspicious if they're asking you to share or update personal information. Also, keep in mind that government agencies will never ask you to give you personal information over the phone via email or text. But again, watch out for those letters as well. If you're unsure, call them on their website number and check, or for your bank, the back of your debit card or credit card, but check first. Be very suspicious, especially if they ask you to pay with cash, gift card, wire money, pay with cryptocurrency. All these requests are scams, and we'll go over some examples in a little bit. Bottom line, don't ever give your personal information unless you completely understand all the details. Now, here's an example of a phone scam. This is actually, this is something I received, so I thought I would share it because I'm getting bombarded by phone scam, and this is one that I received recently.
We sent you several notices in the mail that you have yet to extend your warranty past the factory cutoff, and this is a courtesy call to renew your warranty before we close the file. If you're interested in renewing your auto warranty, please press 5 now or press 9 to be removed from our list.
So this, of course, is a scam. Now, if you were to click to renew, click the number to renew, they will either lead you to believe that they're extending your current warranty, which when in fact it's a scam, or they'll sell you a service contract that's overpriced and full of loopholes and exclusions. So if you happen to answer a scam call, don't press any numbers, because you will verify to the robocaller that this is a working number, which means even more calls. Just hang up the phone.
Sent you several.
Now, phishing scams. Let's go over some actual scams to watch out for. Phishing scam, again, we talked about it a little bit earlier. but they try to steal your money or your identity by getting you to reveal personal information like credit card numbers, bank information, passwords, by clicking on links that bring you to fake websites. The messages typically look like they're from reputable companies like financial institutions, even government agencies. And here are some red flags that you may be dealing with a phishing scam. The email or letter has a generic greeting like dear customer or dear sir, madam. The message and email has spelling and grammar errors. They claim there's a problem with your account, like they notice suspicious activity. The message scares you by saying something bad will happen unless you do what they say right away, like your account will be frozen, or you must act now to claim a reward or avoid a penalty, or they offer free products or services, prizes, cheap travel deals. They ask you to click on a link to confirm personal information or verify your identity. And the email may also include a fake invoice. So here's an example of a phishing email. Here, the scammer sends an email that appears to be from a legitimate financial institution, West Coast Bank. Not sure if that exists, but this is just a, we made that up. So let's look at the red flags. They're using an official bank name, but the email address is missing an S from the word West Coast, which is a sign the email address is fake. The email subject gives a sense of urgency. They want to get this person to act fast. The email is not addressed to a person's name, rather it has a generic greeting. The email main message, again, is meant to scare this person into acting quickly before they have time to think, so that they click on the link and share their personal information on the scammer's fake website. And here are some examples of money scams. Now, many money scams typically tell you that you've won money or that you owe fees or someone you love is in trouble. The story sounds real, often alarming. They try to get you to rush and pay via an untraceable method. Once they get your money, they're gone. With these types of scams, it's nearly impossible to identify the recipient or track them down. They may ask you to wire money. Wiring money is like sending cash. There's no way you can reverse the transaction or trace the money, and you almost never get it back. Or they tell you to put money on a gift card, like an iTunes card. They may say they'll wait on the phone while you get it. Once you have it, they ask you to give them the card registration number, and now they have access to the money. So never wire money. Send cash or gift cards to a stranger, no matter what the reason they give. Here are some tactics they use to get you to fall for their scam. They'll say they are your relative and they're having a crisis, but they don't want you to tell anyone. They tell you that a money transfer, cash, or gift card are the only way of payment they accept. They ask you to deposit a check and send some of the money back to them. They say that you'll want money, but to get it, you must pay a fee or taxes. So here are some case scenarios of money scams. So Lisa finally won the lottery. The caller told her, you won millions. Now just wire $400 for taxes. Lisa sent the $400 to collect her lottery prize, but she never got her winnings and she lost $400. Eddie sold his camera online, but the buyer sent Eddie a check for more than the selling price. He asked Eddie to wire him the extra cash. Eddie called his bank. They said the cashier's check was probably a fake, and they were right. Eddie didn't deposit the check, he didn't send the money back, and sold his camera to someone else. Anita's grandson called to say his wallet was stolen in London. He begged her to send money, but not to tell his mom. Anita called her daughter. Her grandson was in college 50 miles from home, not in London, and he wasn't the one who called her. And here's another one, rental scam. Now, scammers hijack rental listings. They change the email address and contact information, and sometimes use a fake website. They even make up listings that don't exist. They try to lure you in with a promise of low rent or great amenities. Always remember, if the deal sounds too good to be true, it probably is. So here's the story. Susan finds the perfect listing for an apartment. It's in a nice part of town and close to work. Rent is less than the average amount in that area. She sends an email to avoid missing this great deal. The owner says he's out of the country, but if Susan wires money for the security deposit, he will send the keys. So here are some red flags that indicate that this is likely a rental scam, or that you're dealing with a rental scam. They ask you to wire money for the deposit or first month's rent before you've met or signed the lease, or before disclosing the exact location of the rental. They say they can't meet in person and make excuses like they're out of the country, or the rental home listing appears in several places. There is no address in the description or no photo. The rent is much cheaper than comparable listings in the area, and poorly written postings or emails. And here's what you can do to try to avoid falling for a rental scam. So before making a deal with anyone, look up the rental company's official number and call them to make sure the deal is real. Do an online search of the owner and the listing, and then use words like review, complaint, scam. If you see a listing on an online rental website like Zillow or Trulia, search the home's address and make sure it appears on the rental company's website. If it doesn't, it may be a scam. Compare the rent to comparable listings in the area. If it's a lot less, it should make you suspicious. Take a tour of the apartment and look for signs with the name of the property owner or manager. Call the company before signing anything. If you can't take a tour because maybe you are renting remotely, maybe do you know anyone you can trust in the area who can do that for you? Ask for identification. Rental agents should have photo ID badges from the rental company. If they make up excuses why they can't meet you in person, for sure, keep looking. And apply only through an official rental company, licensed real estate professional or listing website. And never pay with cash, wire transfers, or gift cards. If anyone tells you to pay this way, it's a sure sign of a scam. So again, you can do a lot to help protect your information. So take the time to learn what you can do and take the necessary steps. And here are some recommendations. Password protect your laptops, smartphones, and tablet. They contain a lot of personal data. If you don't and you lose it, or if it gets stolen, the thief can easily access all your information. Protect your information. Watch out for shoulder surfing. When you are entering a debit card number, PINs, while you're using an ATM or self-checkout, look for anything out of the ordinary on ATM or gas station card readers, like tape, glue marks, machine scratches, or if a card reader looks different than the card readers at nearby stations or ATMs. Maybe it looks bulkier or it's loose. If you are unsure, just go to the cashier or use a different ATM or gas pump. One little tidbit. Generally speaking, the gas pumps closer to the where the people, what do you call it? Sorry, where the cashier is, where the cashier works, tend to not be targeted. It's the gas pumps that are further away because they go more unnoticed. So typically the ones closer, but it's not assured. So always look for telltale signs. Only carry cards you need. So if your wallet is stolen, you minimize the damage. Memorize your social security number and leave the card at home. Sign up for transaction alerts with your credit card company. You get a text or email every time the card is used, or if the charge is above a certain amount, or if the card is used remotely. If you made a transaction, you can ignore the notification, but if you didn't, you can contact your financial institution immediately to alert them to freeze or close your account before more fraud is committed. Use only secure website. Their site is encrypted. This means that your data is translated into a secret code, and to be able to read it, you must have access to a secret key or password. So look for the HTTPS, look for the S at the end of HTTP. At the start of the web address. Now the S means the site is secure. Also look for a lock icon and make sure the HTTPS is on every page you visit, not just when you sign in. If you see warning signs when you visit a website like info not secure or not secure or dangerous, do not share any personal information. Read your credit card and bank statements. Check your accounts regularly online. Look carefully at all the transactions and make sure that there isn't anything that looks wrong. Charges on your credit card you did not make, withdrawals showing up on your bank statements you did not make. Contact your bank or credit card company immediately if you notice anything suspicious or fraudulent. Read your medical bills and statement of benefits. Check them against your own records to make sure the date or service and name of provider match the care you received. And if you suspect you're a victim, call your healthcare provider and health insurance company right away. And be careful what you share on social media. Make your personal information private and only accessible to your friends, and only include general information. For example, instead of your full birthday, put just the month. Or better yet, avoid including it altogether. And be careful about accepting friend requests from people you don't know. And invest in a low-cost shredder and shred documents and mail that have your personal information. Don't just rip them. And here are some things to avoid. Do not use the same password for all your accounts. If they hack one account, they can hack all of them. Have a system that you can remember but have different passwords. Use strong passwords and keep them private. Don't use the save my password and login features. If a thief gets a hold of your device and hacks into it, they'll be able to access your accounts. Use the two-factor authentication process. Be suspicious of any emails or texts or letters that ask you to follow links or update personal information. Remember, they can look real and official. Don't click unknown links or download attachments, even if the email or text message seem legitimate. If you receive a worrisome message from what appears to be, for example, your bank, use the customer service number on the back of your debit card or the one provided on the bank's official website and call them to check to make sure everything's okay. Don't answer to text or calls from unknown numbers, and don't trust caller IDs that look like they are from a legitimate institution like government agencies. Scammers can spoof those numbers. Plus, remember, government agencies like the Social Security Administration and the IRS will never text, email, or call you. They will communicate with you via mail. Don't share personal and financial information to anyone who calls, texts, or emails. Don't use public Wi-Fi when using apps or go on sites that require personal or financial information. There may be a person across the room or in a car across the street working on their laptop or smartphone, except they're capturing what they need over the public Wi-Fi airwaves to steal your identity. So wait till you are at home or in a secure network. Check your credit report. You are entitled by law to pull a free copy of your credit report from each of the credit reporting agencies every 12 months. Check it to look for any red flags like accounts you never opened, names listed used to open accounts you never used. And actually now, because of the pandemic, you are allowed to pull your free credit report from each of the bureaus once a week, I believe, through April 2022. Now, to get your free copies, you would go to annualcreditreport.com. That's what the main website, the main page looks like. This is the official site where you can get your free copies. Beware of sites that look very similar and ask for payment. It shouldn't cost you anything if you order from the official site. Now, you have to request each bureau's report separately. You can pull all 3 reports at the same time, but if you space out your request, you can get a copy of your credit report throughout the year so you can monitor things throughout the year. So for example, in January, you pull Equifax. In May, you pull TransUnion. In September, you pull Experian. And then in January, you start all over again and you pull Equifax. All right, well, we are at the end of our presentation. Now, we do have an evaluation form, and I know Nevin has a link that she'll share with you on the chat box. But this evaluation form is your opportunity to give us your feedback about today's presentation. It's anonymous, but we really do value your feedback, and we take it to heart. We're always trying to improve our presentations, and we read each comment carefully and take your good comments. Love good comments, but also want the, if you have any suggestions for improvements, we want to hear that as well. And I